Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to all of my wonderful and beautiful little subscribers out there. And how I love you all so, and I hope that you're all super duper well, super duper wonderful, and super duper delicious. And that life is treating you most deliciously. So what do we do? 3, 2, 1, my juice little lights. Thank you, little lights. You're delicious and bright. Yes, they are, aren't they? My delicious little babies. Now then, yeah, so it's just gone 11 a.m. in our old England, my delicious little babies. There's a lot of blue sky. Of course, there's the zums. Have been going up from very early this morning, my delicious little babies. They seem to start very early. Anyway, super duper and wonderful and delicious weather out there, my delicious little babies. Okay, so I've been getting all my cleaning done so that I can have a little relax in the sunshine, my delicious little babies, because I love the sun and the sun loves me, okay? So the sun has got his hat on, hip, 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 hooray. Okay, my delicious little babies now then. So what have I got to say, okay? So number one, we're back to this again, my delicious little babies, okay? Here we go again, okay? So I'm back on pause, my delicious little babies. So YouTube has put me back on pause, okay, my delicious little babies. Now, this has got nothing to do with the comments that I replied to, yesterday, my delicious little babies, and I spoke to you about it, okay, the day before that. Right, it's got nothing to do with that, okay? Because I was only sending pleasant comments to everybody, okay? But then I got, for 3 days, it was like every other day, put on pause, my delicious babies. And I never said anything bad, never did anything. And then they put me every other day on a pause. So that means that I cannot send any comments. So, just to send to my lovely little uploaders, of course, with anybody not in that way, my lovely little uploaders, thank you to who they are, and, bright blessings to you all, and a little circle with a star. Okay, so, so that warrants, with YouTube, to put me back on pause. Simple thing, YouTube, just asking a question, do you know what I mean, okay? Seems to myself, okay, I don't know, I could be mistaken here, but I do not believe that I am. There could be a couple of things at play here. Number one could be that, maybe, it could be a few things, actually. Number one, it could be the uploaders who I'm sending comments to, which I'm not doing any harm at all. Okay, like I said, I did send that comment back to that silly woman who was silly enough to send myself a comment. Okay, my delicious little babies, okay? And she's clearly not seeing other things now, what's going on in the world. But usually, as a rule, I do not send any comments like that, my delicious little babies. But, like I've just said previously, yes, they put me every other day on pause, my delicious little babies. YouTube have. Okay, so when I've just done nothing at all. Okay, so the one thing is, like I just said, could be to do with the uploaders. For whatever reason, they're not doing anything. They're all, as far as I'm concerned, there we are, telling the damn truth. And for myself, okay, I enjoy, okay, and love, not in that way, listening to them all. Okay, so let's look at the second thing it could be. Maybe what they're doing here is that, there we are, they're trying to play catch up. There we are. Okay, my delicious little babies, okay? So before I get the opportunity, there we are, to comment again. Do you see what I mean, my delicious little babies, okay? That's what it seems to myself, okay? And I would say, thirdly, that, like I say, because they seem to be constantly, there we are, and I'm pretty sure I'm not alone, there we are, monitoring my channel, which takes absolutely hours upon hours, my delicious little babies, to upload. Sometimes 24 hours, my delicious little babies, sometimes 18 hours, my delicious little babies, okay? Now, I'm not sure if anybody else can see my video, when I'm uploading it. I'm not too sure about it. Anyway, I mean, I'm pretty sure that one's, that doesn't mean no. I'm pretty sure, my delicious little babies, that there is a way that ones can view my video without it showing the view that somebody's looked at it, my delicious little babies. I'm sure that there we are, there is a way that ones do that. Okay, my delicious little babies, okay? So yeah, so we're back to that again. Okay, my delicious little babies. Well, I'm not going to worry about it anyway. I'll put it on my video now. So, you know, to whom it may concern, I really couldn't give a fiddler's F, okay, if that's how you feel, you know, to do YouTube, and this is what you feel that you must do to put me back on a pause. Well, then just be done doing it then. You've already just been done doing it, haven't you? So continue be done doing it, you know what I mean? Okay? Fact of the matter is, I can still click on the like, which is what I've done. Okay? And of course, I never realised this until yesterday evening, okay, because I just put, you know, thank you, and you know, to my dear little uploaders who I happened, there we are, to enjoy and respect them, my delicious little babies, okay, to send those comments. And then the final one, then just after that, it said I'm on a pause. Okay, my delicious little babies. Anyway, it's just, you know what I mean. And I'm pretty sure, bless, that there must be many others. Okay, I'm not too sure there is, you know. I don't know what this is. Well, I do know, you know, there's a number of reasons, like I just said, okay? Anyway, my delicious little babies, now what I still want to talk about. So, and can I please, before I go any further, can I please say thank you for any views, for any likes, and for the occasional comments. How it is always so very much welcomed, and I love you. You are delicious and beautiful, and I love you so. Okay, so thank you. Okay. Now then, my delicious little babies, I haven't listened to Stumbled here, but I've got no reason to. But then again, I do have reason to, with to do with what's been said, but not the uploader and not the information that the dear man's giving out now. Okay, my delicious little babies, okay. So I haven't listened for a while to Gary, he's capital G in the old space bar, my delicious little babies, in old YouTube, space Waterman. So it's capital WATERMAN, Waterman. Gary Space Waterman. That's how it should read once it's typed in. Should anybody have any form of an interest, my delicious little babies? Yeah. So I happen to you know, enjoy listening, like I said, not in that way, listening to different uploaders, my delicious little babies as well. And especially when they are wanting to help mankind, my delicious little babies, okay? So he's now up to, this is on YouTube, he's on YouTube, my delicious little babies. I have mentioned him months ago, okay? There we are, I have, okay? And where did I very first see him now? I'm trying to remember now where I very first seen him. I know it's a long time back, and since then there were others who have well, it is a form of avatars, isn't it? You know, when you have a guest on, you know, because you're advertising each other, aren't you? Anyway, my delicious little babies. But anyway, I seen him, there we are, back long time ago, okay? And he's ex-Old Bill, ex-policeman, okay? My delicious little babies, okay? What's that? Oh, sorry, it must be somebody over the back. Anyway, my delicious little babies. And anyway, what it is, you know, he's been doing a lot of research and everything. He has spoke to, like I say, other dear uploaders, bless, okay? And of course, there we are. He wants to help, there we are, mankind, my delicious little babies, okay? But his latest video, okay, my delicious little babies, is that's very interesting indeed, okay? I'm not going to say anything more. He's now up to 2.18 thousand subscribers on old YouTube, my delicious little babies. And I really strongly suggest, there we are, if you please and thank you, can, to anybody who can see my video, because, you know, like I said, I'm so very thankful and grateful for who does take the time to listen to myself, okay? Because I'm sure that to some I can come across as rather trying. Do you see what I mean, my delicious little babies? Anyway, that's neither here nor there. I couldn't give a shout about that. Do you understand what I mean? Yes, I'm just done saying, there we are, what I need to say. There we are. Okay, my delicious little babies, okay? And he's on YouTube, okay? And let's please, there we are, get his numbers up if we can, okay? Because this is super duper and important. What I will say is it's to do with these towers. Okay, my delicious little babies, okay? And I was listening to another video yesterday evening, because I tell you who I haven't listened to for a long time. Our lovely, not in that way, our lovely the Charlie Ward show, and he's seeming a lot better now, dear Charlie, bless him. So blessings to himself and his dear little self, his dear little family and his dear little friends and work colleagues, you know what I mean? Bless, not in that way. And Gary Waterman, and that's on Rumble, by the way, my delicious little babies, or you can just type in the Charlie Ward show, okay, my delicious little babies, and then, you can go to his website. So there's, you can do that over Rumble, okay? My delicious little babies. I'm sure that they're advertised on many other places, okay? But I'm just giving, the main two. And he's done a recent video, Paul Brooker with Charlie Ward show, yes? And they've done a recent video with Gary Waterman. Okay, my delicious little babies. Kind of tell you what this is to do with is that putrid Elon Musk. Okay, my delicious little babies, okay? So he's mentioned him. But what was happening was the video was, it was sticking. I've noticed that to do with some of the Rumble videos, my delicious little babies. Some of the videos, there we are, sticking. So they get to a point and then they just stop. So, like, sometimes with the alternative media, what they do, my delicious little babies, okay, there we are. I've been clocking it long time. Sometimes I'll do a pause. They will do a pause, okay, my delicious little babies, then they'll restart it, okay? But with the way that this has been done, it's like you cannot get past that point. It's really hard for me to explain what I'm saying, my delicious little babies, okay? It doesn't matter how long you wait. It's just not going to come off the pause, okay, my delicious little babies, okay? So you go back to restart the video, and again, it'll get to that point, and then it'll just stop, okay, my delicious little babies, and then sometimes what it does is that it'll go, finally, go a little bit over, and then it'll stop again. Do you see what I mean? And I've been noticing, there we are, that this has been happening with Rumble. Okay, my delicious little babies, okay? So, like I said, I mean, of course, we know who, there we are, shareholders and everything are, my delicious little babies, there we are. Do you see what I mean? Anyway. So, yeah, but he's on there as well, my delicious little babies, okay? Yes, and what, sorry, excuse myself. Sorry, my delicious little babies. Had a slight frog in my throat. You see, what I found absolutely, there we are, refreshing, okay, is that, because there are a very large number, okay, our lovely David Icke, not in that way with anybody, okay, he's been doing this, 30 odd years, so nearly 36 years now, my delicious little babies, okay. And of course, as if you was to listen to our lovely David Icke, bless him, and he will say that when he started out, there was hardly, anybody doing any videos or giving much information. There was hardly anybody, my delicious little babies, you know what I mean? But of course, and I tell you what I love to hear, when was it the other day, my delicious little babies? Oh, this was like music to my ears, because when I heard somebody say, what flipping video was it on now? Trying to remember what video it was on now. Anyway, it'll come back to me. I'll mention it another day, Martin. This is genuine. I've genuinely forgot, because you know what? Because I listen, there we are, to that many videos, Martin. So do forgive me for that. But do forgive me, dear David, right? The point of the matter is that I want to say now, yes, that our lovely David Icke, yes, what he's been saying for all these years, there we are, is now starting to ring, there we are, to ring true, my delicious little babies. Do you know what I mean? Okay? What did somebody say? Words to effect that it stands up. Oh, yes. With the information that our lovely David Icke has given out, his books and everything, and all of his videos and everything over these decades. Do you see what I mean? But it takes some that long to realise, my delicious little babies. Do you know what I mean? Anyway, so yeah. So good on you, our lovely David Ark, and your lovely dear little sons Gareth and Jamie, and your dear little friend Richard, and your dear little work colleagues and families. Do you understand what I mean? Yes, okay? So this is what I'm talking about. I'm trying to remember that flipping video now. I'm racking my brain. Who was he? Was it on, I think it was on our lovely, not in that way, our lovely UK column. It was, they were talking to Germ. Okay, and it was a man who was talking to Germ on our lovely UK column news on YouTube, My Delicious Little Babies. And of course, you can find them as well on their own website, UK column, and our lovely davidite.com on his own website. Okay, My Delicious Little Babies, yeah. And I'm pretty sure it was that man who said it. It was a couple of days ago now. Okay, My Delicious Little Babies. See, it's amazing, isn't it? You know, because you've got far more now, bless, who absolutely adore our lovely David Icke. Well, I do, not in that way, but I do, My Delicious Little Babies, because I have a high respect for somebody who has done that much research, okay, really dug deep, My Delicious Little Babies, into things now. Do you see what I mean, okay? What really pees myself off My Delicious Little Babies, because you hear it all the time, different videos, okay? And somebody who's done zilch, zero research, not done nothing, okay? They prefer to, I don't know, to go and watch the footy or whatever else they do, okay? Or, I don't know, go out pubbing or clubbing, whatever they want to do, okay? Or have Barbies, whatever they want to do, okay? That's nothing against anyone who has Barbies or plays football. I'm just, anyway, that's all irrelevant. The point that I'm saying is, My Delicious Little Babies, okay? And then they've got the damn audacity to put in comments, yes, that somebody else doesn't know what they're talking about. There we are, My Delicious Little Babies. Do you see what I'm saying? They take the effing pee, man. Do you know what I mean? It really gets up my flipping nerves, My Delicious Little Babies. It's just a figure of speech, but flipping gets up my nerves. Do you understand what I mean, okay? Because there's just no respect there. But I bet for a lot of these little plebs and twats and trolls, okay, I bet if something to shout at the fan, okay, they'd soon be coming to our lovely David Ark and his lovely dear little sons, their lovely dear little friend, and other our lovely UK column and all that now then, okay, and some other uploaders. Do you understand what I mean? My Delicious Little Babies, okay, who have done this for years and years and years and years, okay? They'll soon be coming then, to try and get some help, My Delicious, there we are, little babies. Do you see what I mean, okay? Like I said, this is the state of what's going on, My Delicious Little Babies, you know what I mean? But anyway, so I was really pleased when I heard that, with the one who was talking to Germ on UK column news, My Delicious Little Babies. Do you see what I'm saying, okay? So that's that, you see. But of course, they've said for all these years that, ones are just conspiracy theorists and everything like this now. To be honest, I've had it said, months and months and months and months and months ago, there we are, to myself. You know what I mean? Just didn't want to listen. Do you see what I mean, My Delicious Little Babies, okay? Let's get back to the matter in hand, so yeah. So Gary Waterman, I think who interviewed? I think it was our lovely David Arks, lovely dear little son, not in that way, Gareth. I think it was Gareth. Was it Gareth? Dear Gareth, interviewed Gary Waterman. Could be. My Delicious Little Babies, car. Anyway, and so we know a long time, but anyway, this is a really flipping good little video. That's the latest one. But like I said, if you want to hear that other one, which I can only assume that's the latest one, or maybe Gary could not put it onto YouTube because it'll probably, I don't know, get put down or something. I don't know, taken down. Sorry. Okay, My Delicious Little Babies. Anyway. Yeah, so that's that, My Delicious Little Babies. But of course, if more, and of course, poor Gary. He cannot, It's all right. You know what it is? It's this flipping what they're putting up, making my flipping nose itching, everything. I've never ever suffered like this, my delicious little babies, ever. But I found myself flipping, blowing my nose when there's hardly nothing coming out. I know it's too much information, my delicious little babies. My flipping nose is itching. Do you know what I mean? Anyway, but I know what it is. It's what the flipping there we are, what the damn well doing, my delicious little babies. Anyway, sorry about that. Anyway, so, but what was I talking about now? Yeah, so, yeah, but you see, with Gary, he cannot, go out to do any interviews or anything with anybody, you know what I mean? Because of the level of information, there we are, that he's giving out, okay? But I will agree with dear Gary, bless him. I really will, And that is that, because you see what's happening is, and of course our lovely David Icke and his lovely dear little son said, lovely dear little friend, okay? They've been talking about it, okay? You see, and our lovely UK column, they cover an awful lot as well. You see what's happening is more and more and more and more, there we are, is being exposed, okay? And certain others are not alike him. Do you see what I mean, my delicious little babies, okay? But I tell you what, something interesting that Gary said, okay? On the YouTube ones. Okay? Well, it's interesting on the other one. It's just I couldn't hear the rest of it. That was a problem, on our lovely the Charlie Ward show, my delicious little babies. I just couldn't hear the rest of it. It just kept sticking. Do you know what I mean? It got to the part of, what was it, Elon Musk. What's one of these companies? Jesus something. Yeah. Anyway, my delicious little babies. But what was I going to say? Yeah. So the point is that you see, because we've got all of this problem, okay, and let's just say that because there's a lot involved, my delicious little babies. That's what I wanted to say. Gary had also said that how many? The 6 million, number 6 again. 6 million, that doesn't mean who are involved in this account. Now, there are some who are sort of been put there to give some information, but not all of the information. Okay, my delicious little babies. Well, when I actually listened to it, yeah, you know what I mean? And I listened to it twice, actually, my delicious little babies. It's the one we want, part 1 and part 2, a month ago on Gary Waterman on her YouTube, my delicious little babies, okay? Part 1 and part 2. Okay, my delicious little babies, okay? When I spared a thought for it, I thought, you know what? I thought, I can believe it. There we are. I can believe that. Okay, my delicious little babies. However, I still like the, the videos, and I have myself advertised my delicious little babies. Do you know what I mean? Some names which I have, but I wouldn't be surprised. It's not like when I listened to it, I was like, oh, like I was really shocked. I really just didn't feel it, because what's happened is, my delicious little babies, okay? It's like you mustn't be really shocked at nothing now, okay? But you've got a lot of, like I say, a lot of governments, a lot of, everything. This is why I say, what I have to say on my videos. You see, myself personally, I do not believe, and I'll stand by what I say. I'm a woman with a view. I haven't said that for a while. I shall have my effing view, and my effing view is that I do not believe that we need governments. However, I also believe that we do not need a one world government either, my delicious little babies. Do you see what I'm saying, okay? But well worth a listen to Gary Waterman, my delicious little babies, and everybody who I've mentioned today. Our lovely, they're all lovely dear uploaders, my delicious little babies. Do you know what I mean? But well worth it. But but the names that he mentioned, I'm not surprised. But I have enjoyed listening to those, you know, who he mentioned, and I have advertised them. So I'm not going to take that back. No, I'm not. I'm not going to take any of it back. You know what I mean? Okay? Because at the end of the day, you know, if ones have to do, there we are, what they have to do, there we are, they have to do it, don't they, my delicious little babies, you know what I mean? The one who I feel has shouted on everybody, my delicious little babies, being one of them, is Born in the USA. That old Alex Jones now then. Oh, yeah. He's really, there we are, shouted on, you know what I mean? I personally do not feel that you can see there we are how the flex are going to go here, my delicious little babies, okay? So ones who once really say had heart admiration, okay, are very slowly coming, there we are, to realise, my delicious little babies, okay, well actually it's speeding up, that he's not as maybe as trustworthy as what one's thought, my delicious little babies, do you know what I mean? And you know, and I'm going to tell you this, you know what, my delicious little babies, you're hearing it, there we are, more and more and more. Okay, and of course I listen to our lovely Not In That Way, Not In That Way, our lovely fake Nukesville. Now he is on my delicious little babies Substack. Okay, my delicious little babies, and I'm actually subscribed to him on Substack. There are a few that I'm subscribed to, my delicious little babies, on Substack, and Phil Nukesville, yeah, because I tapped him in yesterday evening, my delicious little babies, and yeah, I never realised he was on a Substack, so I thought yes, and yeah, and he's going to go out of his way, there we are, to prove that let's just say not everything ones, not everything, my delicious little babies, it is quite the truth. Okay, my delicious little babies. And finally, that's what I wanted to say. So like I said, you know, I'm not putting anybody down who's been in the wars and things like this now then, but we have to question many things. Okay, my delicious little babies, and I've been, like I said, advertising Fake Nukesville and our lovely Gemma Doherty, Not In That Way, Not In That Way, long time, okay, like from BitChute, okay, days, okay, when I used to be able to watch the videos, my delicious little babies, okay, because that's where you get banging news there. Do you know what I mean, my delicious little babies? Anyway, finally, so I heard on our lovely Not In That Way, Not In That Way, our lovely The David Knight Show. They're on Rumble, but they're also on Odyssey, Odyssee. Okay, my delicious little babies, and it was a couple of nights ago where I heard his name is he washes on the spin. Dr. Kirk, K-R-R-K, space Moore, M-O-O-R-E. Okay, my delicious little babies, and this happened over a week ago now. Okay, so, but like I said, I've listened, there we are, to that many videos, okay, so this one, for some reason, it has slipped me. Do you understand what I mean, my delicious little babies? So, anyway, well, that poor doctor's in trouble, and what it is, they're saying, because everybody knows I do not particularly like doctors, do you know what I mean, or nurses. Everybody knows that with myself, you know what I mean. There's very few and far between who I would ever get along with, put it that way, my delicious little babies, because I was just simple things, do not trust them. Okay, my delicious little babies, anyway, and I never ever will again. Okay, and this went on long before the old pandemic, or long before. We just don't get on. Okay, my delicious little babies, okay. But this poor doctor, bless, you know, and I will talk about this doctor. What happened was, when the jibby jab, and I'm not saying that to offend or upset or hurt anybody's feelings now, okay? You know, who listens to my videos, my delicious little babies, okay? My heart goes out to everybody. I always say that, but not to the putrid effers who pushed it, like I said. Anyway, my delicious little babies, well, when the old jibby jabs have been rolled out, okay, this doctor, Dr. Kirk Moore, he, well, basically what he did is he I call it the dummy version, Okay, my delicious little babies, but others would call it Salan, which basically is not going to do any harm at all. So he was injecting the little bairns, bless, with the Salan. You know, I do assume that it was with his, you know, the mummies and daddies' consent. Do you understand what I mean? But he refused to inject the babies, little bairns or babies or anything with I think I don't know, was it to do with the adults as well, but it could be to do with the grown-ups as well, my delicious babies cat. But especially the little bairns and little babies, he refused to give them, you know, this snake oil, my delicious little babies cat, and gave them the Salan. Well, now he's looking at, wait for this, my delicious little babies, wait for this, he's looking at 35 year to be incarcerated, my delicious little babies, okay? So, have you please heard me correctly, my delicious little babies? So, because he didn't want to put the babies in the little bairns or anybody else to harm, okay, he did something differently, which was not going to harm anybody's health, okay? He's now looking at 35 years to be incarcerated. My delicious little babies, okay? But if he had have been like a lot of the rest of them in the world, my delicious little babies, okay, where they were so super duper happy for anybody to roll up their sleeve, okay, my delicious little babies, okay, because they were getting, there are incentives, if you follow me, ka-ching, ching, ching, a lot extra, there we are, in the pay packet, my delicious little babies, okay, to carry this out, my delicious little babies. Well, he'd get a pat on the back and he'd probably get a Nobel Prize, my delicious little babies, for any of those. Do you see what I mean? But because this dear doctor was doing his best, there we are, to, I will call him dear, because he was sparing a thought for mankind, for little babies, for little bairns, and do you understand what I mean? So I will say that, okay? And I'll speak as, you know, what I believe that he was doing the correct thing, the right thing, okay? I mean, personally, no jibby jab needles should be put in anybody, okay? But the fact of the matter is, forget about it, just let's fast forward. The point is, because he never wanted to harm any mankind, he's looking at that, my delicious little babies, okay? But we are years in now into what has taken place, very sadly, around the world. My delicious little babies, you know, apart from a few countries who have no idea what's going on. My delicious little babies, like I keep saying. And do you feel that any of these are getting, just an old-fashioned saying, my delicious little babies, do you feel that any of these are getting effing banged to rats for what they've done? Not to mention these pop-up Nightingale tents, my delicious little babies, okay, with ones who had no medical knowledge or experience or anything to get ones to roll their arms up now, their sleeves, sorry, my delicious little babies, with their arms, okay? Not even putting it in the right place. Have any of these been banged to rats, my delicious little babies? It's a simple thing. I'm not shouting at you, my delicious little babies. I'm just there we are, passionate about what I talk about. Have any of these been banged to rats? Or for the harm, there we are, that it has caused? What were some of them on? When Mark Sexton, his ex-old Bill, my delicious little babies, all around that time, you know what I mean? He was putting them on notice. And some of them in these buildings, okay, you know, giving the jibby jabs, my delicious little babies, on 40 squid, ka-ching, ching, ching, I'm pretty sure of that, because that sticks in my noddle. 40 ka-ching squid an hour, my delicious little babies. So you get to work now then to go and get paid 40 ka-ching, ka-ching, ka-ching an hour, you know, just for somebody to roll a sleeve up, my delicious little babies. Do you follow me? Yes? Are we seeing any of those being banged to rats? I even seen that Putrid Hancock, didn't I? Mad delicious little babies. I forgot what flipping video that's on because I see that bloody much, honestly. I can't bloody remember now. It'll come back to me, mad delicious little babies. And he admitted, sorry, excuse me, mad delicious little babies once again. And where he admitted, oh, it's an experimental. Okay. So was anybody informed that this was an experimental at the time? My delicious little babies. So for yourselves, my little beautifuls, okay, how I love you so, like I say, if you happen to know somebody, or maybe whoever is watching me now, bless your beautiful dear little souls, okay, like I said, I'm not here to hurt, offend, or upset anybody, okay, for yourselves, should it be yourselves, it may not be, or maybe somebody who you know, was they explained to themselves, was it explained to themselves, sorry, that this was experimental? Because as far as I'm concerned and what I was hearing all the way throughout, there was no mention. I don't know, maybe my ears were closed at the time or something. I'm just not too sure. But I never heard them say that it was experimental. I heard about it's an emergency. Do you know what I mean, my delicious little babies? But I never heard experimental. I must have missed something, my delicious little babies, you know what I mean? But to hear your man there, barefaced effing what he is, my delicious little babies, that putrid Hancock, okay, Midazolam man that he's called, my delicious little babies in our old England, right? You could see on his birth dress, like everybody was supposed to know, all of our population, my delicious little babies, were supposed to know that this was experimental. Come on, ding, ding, dong, dong. If ones had realised that, they would never have taken. It's damn well common sense, man. Damn well, there we are, damn well common sense. You're always going to get some mothers do have them. You know, they get offered probably 1,800 ka-ching, ka-ching, ka-ching squids to go and have a trial that they're never going to get to spend because, very sadly, they're not going to live through it. Do you see what I mean, my delicious babies? So you will get theirs tap. Do you know what I mean, my delicious babies? But for the rest of the population, they would never have taken. If they thought it was going to kill them or disable them, they would never have taken. My delicious little babies. I was doing my best to warn, there we are, how many? Of course, some would have got the, I call it the dummy version, others call it, like I say, Salan, okay? I call it the dummy version because then a month later, then it come out on BitChute or, you know, like this now then, do you know what I mean? So somebody must have, there we are, been watching one of my videos, do you know what I mean? Because I was watching what was going on and I was noticing that some were, you know, as like just figures as high as a cat, and then others were very poorly, very sadly, for some, very sadly no longer with us, bless their beautiful dear little souls, and bless anybody who's poorly as well. But others, there was just nothing. So I worked it out and I was watching over a few weeks, you know what I mean? I thought, oh, I know what's going on here. Do you see what I mean? And I said it on one of my videos. Do you know what I mean? My delicious little babies, okay? Long time back. There we are. Okay? Then a month later, yeah, out on a BitChute, so somebody there we are would have been listening. Do you see what I mean? Okay? And I just thought, well, yeah, so that's why they're not getting poorly or sick. Because they've been given, you know, not the real thing, mad little babies, but bless everybody's dear soul, like I said, apart from the effers who are pushing it, who have taken the real damn thing now, and I do know some. And they're still not the same now. They've told myself, there we are many a time, they're still not the same. Okay, mad delicious little babies. So everybody cannot be wrong, can they? But that putrid Hancock, oh yeah, it's an experimental. Oh, like they've told everything. No, they didn't. Our government, my delicious little babies, there we are, deliberately effing lad. There we are. It was deliberate. The effing lad, man. But of course, you still had some of the putrid government taking the jibby jab, didn't you? You only have to listen to, what's his name, Andrew Bridgen, where he said that he knows some of his ex-work colleagues who and some of their family members have been very poorly and had very serious side effects, shall we say, mad delicious little babies, but they wouldn't speak up. You only have to listen to Andrew Bridgens. You know, he's done that many flipping interviews. He's done saying it. So my video should not come down for what I've said, my delicious little babies, you know what I mean? Because this is, there we are, public knowledge, my delicious little babies, do you know what I mean? Okay? So yeah, so anyway, so that's the end of my video, my delicious little babies. So thank you so very much for listening to myself today, my little beautifuls, okay? And I'm going to make myself a lovely cup of coffee and sending peace, love, harmony and bright blessings to each and every one of you. And may your beautiful little selves and your beautiful little families all be fully protected, okay? Whether it's morning, afternoon or evening, please have a super duper delicious time. You only get one life, my little honey bunnies. Yes, okay? And something else, and lights off. So something else, one last thing I just want to say. You know what? I've been noticing a long time now. You know, like if you send comments. Anyway, this has been going on a long time now, delicious little babies. And what happens is that you know, you do get some channels where they really try to encourage you to comment. There's thousands of channels the same, my delicious little babies, okay? What do you think about this, or what do you think about that? Okay, what I would say is, like I've commented when I've needed to, you know, maybe to let one's certain know. I did it a while back, for a while actually. Just let ones know, you know, what was going on, you know, there we are, what was going to be going on, okay? From what my man's, there we are, was getting. Okay, my delicious little babies, okay? And then, of course, it stopped because, like I said, I'm not subscribed anymore. Don't watch the videos. I haven't watched her for a couple of weeks now. My delicious little babies. My job's done. I've advertised, and that's it. That's my job done. Do you know what I mean? My delicious little babies. But yeah, but this is what it's fed off. Okay, so I'm not just too sure. That's why I'm sticking to, you know, when I do send a comment, my delicious little babies, I just keep it, there we are, short and sweet. Okay, my delicious little babies. If I want to say it, it's very occasionally that you'll see me put a bit extra, very occasionally. Okay, but I usually keep it, like I say, the way are short and sweet. Okay, let's just say maybe not to feed some my delicious little babies, okay? Because you never know, it may not just be the uploader. You'll probably find it's the uploader, there we are, and who else is with them. Do you see what I mean? My delicious little babies. So that's why I just keep it the way it is. You know, I just keep it that way. It'd be very rare that, you know, I would put anything more. Okay, my delicious little babies, okay? Because you're just feeding it. And of course, what it's doing is it's then, you know, giving others, you know, because I'm pretty sure at this point, no matter how much they all seem to feel they've got it together, I'm not too sure about this. No, I'm not too sure at all. My delicious little babies, do you know what I mean? So they're needing us useless eaters out here, my delicious little babies. It appears, there we are, that they really need us, don't they? Do you know what I mean? Because they need that feedback, don't they, my delicious little babies? But say, for example, I don't know. So, for example, if everybody just said, you know, thank you and bright blessings to you, or thank you and bright blessings to you all, and it was just constant, you'd probably say, there we are, a lot of flipping damn well chaos, my delicious little babies, you know what I mean? Like, how do you feel that, like, half the politicians, you know what I mean? Because they cannot think for their damn selves, can they? Okay? So, and you see so many videos, thousands upon thousands, to do with politics, my delicious little babies, okay? But where do you feel that they get half of their ideas from? It's the likes of, you know, mankind out here. My delicious, there we are, little babies. Do you see what I mean? Okay? Do you see how it rocks and rolls? It's like a circle, circle, circle. Do you see what I mean, my delicious little babies? Okay? Anyway, so that's all I've got to say. I do my job. I go to where I needed to go, and then that's it. And then I move on. Do you know what I mean? Mad Listening Babies, that's just what I do, you know what I mean? Bit like, what's his name? Paul Young. Wherever I lay my hat, that's my home. You know, that's my home. Do you remember that song? You know what I mean? The guy. So please, wherever you are, have a delicious and wonderful and beautiful time wherever you are in the world, because you're all so beautiful. Thank you so very much for listening. I know that, I can be very vocal and I can, talk very loud, but I'm not shouting at yourselves, mad babies. I'm just, there we are, very passionate about what I talk about, but it seems to myself that certain channels can chat, and then ones like myself cannot. Do you know what I mean? So, me personally, do I see that as being very fair? No, I do not, because it's not fair. Do you know what I mean? But that's how they like to make it in this world. Not everything's fair. Do you know what I mean? Mad babies. Anyway, so until my next video, how I love you so. Thank you once again for listening. Take care. And if it is sun shining, please have a beautiful time. Goodbye.